What if I told you that in Varshaphala, a promise in the chart is not enough? A planet can promise marriage. A planet can promise promotion. A planet can promise property. A planet can promise healing. A planet can promise a major breakthrough. But the deeper Tajika question is this: does the promise become lived reality? That is where the 8th Tajika Yoga becomes powerful. The 8th yoga is Kambula Yoga. And Kambula is not just another technical combination. It is the moment where a possibility becomes an experience. It is the point where the chart stops speaking only about potential and begins speaking about embodiment, emotional reception, social movement, family participation, public response, and actual lived result. In simple language, Kambula Yoga shows that the moon carries the promise into life. In Tajika, especially in Varshaphala, we begin with the yearly chart. The Varshaphala chart is not your entire destiny. It is the weather pattern of one solar year. It tells you which areas of life are activated in that year, where pressure comes, where opportunity comes, where a relationship changes, where career opens, where health demands attention, where property matters rise, where children, education, travel, finances, or public status become important. But Tajika does not read this randomly. The first question is always, who wants what? The Lagnesha represents the person, the native, the one experiencing the year. The Karyesha represents the matter: career, marriage, property, child, money, disease, foreign travel, litigation, education, reputation, spiritual growth. When Lagnesha and Karyesha are in Ithasala, the matter is actively coming together. There is a promise, there is movement, there is application. Something is approaching completion. But Kambula asks a sharper question: will this matter be picked up by the moon? Because in Tajika, the moon is not a small detail. The moon is the mind, the emotional body, the public field, the family field, the lived experience, the rhythm of events, the social acceptance of the matter. The moon translates planetary promise into human reality. So Kambula Yoga forms when two relevant planets are already in Ithasala, and the moon joins the promise by aspecting one or both within orb, while being properly placed to carry that perfection forward. The promise already exists, but the moon makes it real. Is excellent for results that require emotional participation or public acceptance. Marriage is not just a legal agreement. It needs family acceptance, emotional consent, social recognition, ritual, and lived bonding. Pregnancy is not just a biological possibility. It becomes a lived family event. A property purchase is not just a contract. It becomes relocation, settlement, furnishing, emotional anchoring. A career launch is not just an offer letter. It becomes visibility, joining, reporting, status, and public acknowledgement. A medical treatment is not just diagnosis. It becomes care, recovery, food, nursing support, and body-level response. That is Kambula. It is the moon saying, this is no longer abstract. This now enters life. Now let us make this practical. If Lagnesha and 10th Lord are in Ithasala, there is a career promise. But if the moon creates Kambula, the career matter becomes visible and felt. The person may actually join a new role, receive public recognition, get promoted, be introduced to a team, appear before management, or have their name announced in an institutional setting. Without the moon, the offer may stay on paper. With Kambula, the offer enters the person's life rhythm. If Lagnesha and 7th Lord are in Ithasala, relationship or contract is coming together. With Kambula, the matter becomes emotionally real. A marriage discussion becomes family involvement. A client lead becomes signed engagement. A negotiation becomes an actual meeting. A romantic possibility becomes a lived bond. If Lagnesha and 4th Lord are in Ithasala, property, home, vehicle, mother, land, domestic base, emotional foundation may be active. With Kambula, this can show actual movement: shifting home, buying a vehicle, settling a property issue, family gathering, mother's health care, home renovation, or domestic peace being restored. If Lagnesha and 5th Lord are in Ithasala, children, education, creativity, romance, mantra, performance, students, or speculation may be active. With Kambula, the result becomes fertile. A child matter may move forward. A creative idea may be launched. A student may receive admission. A romantic feeling may become confessed. A course may begin. A performance may get public response. If Lagnesha and 9th Lord are in Ithasala, the year touches fortune, teachers, fatherly figures, law, dharma, long-distance travel, higher learning, publication, pilgrimage. With Kambula, the grace becomes lived. A teacher appears. A legal matter receives movement. A journey happens. A spiritual practice becomes emotionally meaningful. A publication reaches people. This is why Kambula is not merely good. It is embodying. Now let us read the moon by house. When the moon participates from the first house, the native personally feels the result. It affects body, identity, appearance, health, confidence, and personal decision. The person cannot remain detached. The event becomes part of their self-definition. When the moon participates from the fourth house, the result enters home, family, mother, vehicle, land, emotional peace, residence, roots. This is strong for property, relocation, family healing, settlement, and domestic events. When the moon participates from the seventh house, the result comes through the other person: spouse, client, partner, consultant, public audience, competitor, lawyer, contract party. This can be powerful for marriage, business, negotiation, counseling, and public dealings. When the moon participates from the 10th house, the result becomes public, professional, visible, and status-oriented. Career matters, authority, rank, employer, government, public image, leadership, responsibility, these become visible. When the moon participates from the 5th house, the result becomes creative, romantic, educational, child-oriented, speculative, devotional, or performance-based. It can bring joy, fertility, intelligence, teaching, content creation, or public appreciation. When the moon participates from the 9th house, the result receives meaning. Teachers, mentors, law, fatherly guidance, pilgrimage, spiritual insight, publication, higher education, blessings, and moral clarity become central. Now let us understand the planets through Kambula. If the sun is one of the planets in the Ithasala and the moon carries it, the year may bring authority into lived experience. Government, father, boss, senior, official approval, public stage, leadership, recognition, or ego confrontation may become real. The sun gives power, position, authority, discipline, fame, and official visibility. For example, a pursues promotion. The appointment may be announced. Their name may go into the system. They may meet the senior authority. Or negatively, they may face a visible authority conflict that cannot be ignored. If the moon itself is strongly involved, the matter becomes highly emotional, family-centered, public, or body-centered. The moon brings mother, food, water, home, property, travel, psychology, moods, and community response. This may show family participation in acceptance of a decision, public reception of a launch, or the body responding to treatment. If Mars is involved, Kambula can make action visible. Mars brings courage, property, land, surgery, police, military, engineering, vehicles, emergencies, competition, sharp decisions, and forceful action. In a career chart, this may show engineers, technical teams, machinery, decisive execution. In a health chart, it may show surgery or emergency action. In property, it may show land measurement, construction, repairs, or conflict over territory. If Mercury is involved, Kambula makes communication real. Mercury brings documents, paperwork, trade, education, writing, data, analysis, commerce agents, software platforms, and negotiation. This may show signing a contract, sending documents, receiving admission, launching intent, negotiation with clients, or a message that changes the direction of the year. If Jupiter is involved, Kambula carries wisdom, protection, law, children, teachers, advisors, institutions, banking, ethics, religion, higher education, and expansion into lived form. This can show a mentor helping, a legal blessing, childbirth matters, educational success, banking app or guru, or a fortunate intervention. If Venus is involved, Kambula gives relationship, comfort, vehicle, wealth, beauty, partnership, luxury, finance, self-worth, affection, and desire a lived form. This may show engagement, marriage, romantic union, buying a vehicle, designing a home, business pleasure, beauty work, creo comfort. If Saturn is involved, Kambula makes duty real. Saturn brings work, time, responsibility, labor, delay, machinery, construction, oil, minerals, service industry, status, endurance, and slow karmic responsibility. This can show joining a serious job, taking responsibility for an elder, facing institutional pressure, dealing with government cues, handling audit, labor, or a long-term obligation becoming unavoidable. Now with Rahu and Ketu, we must be careful. Classical Tajika mainly works through the visible planets, but in modern Jyotisha extension, Rahu and Ketu can color the field. Rahu may show foreign systems, software, AI, social media, optics, obsession, marketing, unconventional success, image, publicity, and desire for limelight. K2 may show detachment, occult, mathematics, research, hidden knowledge, machines, secrets, philosophy, and spiritual separation. So if Kambula involves a Rahu-colored context, the promise may become real through media, foreign contact, technology, digital visibility, unusual people, or obsessy colors the context. It may become real through withdrawal, spiritual work, technical diagnosis, research, occult study, detachment, or hidden insight. Now let us add zodiac signs. A Kambula promise in Aries becomes fast, action-oriented, courageous, competitive, impatient. It may bring quick initiation, conflict, surgery, engineering, sports, leadership, or urgent decision. Aries wants movement. If the moon carries the promise here, the event may move quickly, but sustaining it needs discipline. In Taurus, Kambula becomes stable, material, sensual, resource-based. It can show wealth, food, family, speech, possessions, property, comfort, relationship security, and accumulation. Tangible and durable. In Gemini, Kambula becomes communication-driven. Messages, documents, trade, education, media, writing, siblings, sales, data, and networking become the path through which the promise becomes real. In Cancer, Kambula is especially emotionally strong because Cancer is moon-ruled. The matter enters home, heart, mother, memory, food, water, family, vehicle, and emotional safety. This is powerful for domestic results, healing, and emotional closure. In Leo, Kambula becomes visible, proud, dignified, creative, and leadership-oriented. A result may be announced, performed, celebrated, recognized, or linked to authority, education, romance, children, or status. In Virgo, Kambula becomes practical, analytical, service-oriented, and health-oriented. The event may involve routines, diagnosis, documents, audits, subordinates, treatment, correction, editing, or detailed execution. In Libra, Kambula becomes relational. Partnership, marriage, contracts, negotiation, diplomacy, law, aesthetics, fairness, and social harmony become the channel. In Scorpio, Kambula becomes intense and transformative. It may involve secrets, inheritance, research, sexuality, surgery, crisis, deep psychology, occult learning, hidden money, or emotional rebirth. In Sagittarius, Kambula becomes dharmic and expansive. Teachers, law, long-distance travel, higher education, publication, philosophy, faith, religion, and moral direction become active. In Capricorn, Kambula becomes duty, status, work, responsibility, construction, institutions, pressure, timelines, and public accountability. The result comes through effort, hierarchy, and maturity. In Aquarius, Kambula becomes network-based, technological, reformist, social, innovative, and future-oriented. Gains, friends, communities, digital platforms, science, AI, collective systems, and unusual alliances may carry the event. In Pisces, Kambula becomes spiritual, imaginative, compassionate, foreign, private, charitable, or surrender-based. It may show retreats, hospitals, ashrams, foreign lands, dreams, healing, closure, or divine timing. Now let us compare examples. Example 1, career. Suppose Lagnesha and 10th Lord are in Ithasala. The promise of career movement exists. Now the moon joins and creates Kambula from the 10th house. This is not simply maybe I will get a job. This is more likely. Interview becomes offer, offer becomes joining, joining becomes public announcement, responsibility becomes official. If the sun is involved, it may come through authority. If Mercury is involved, through paperwork and interview. If Saturn is involved, through hierarchy and delayed but serious appointment. If Jupiter is involved, through institution, mentor, policy, teaching, law, or banking. If Venus is involved, through client relationship, design, finance, hospitality, luxury, art, or diplomacy. If Mars is involved, through engineering, operations, emergency, land, machinery, military, police, or technical execution. Example 2, marriage. Lagnesha and 7th Lord are in Ithasala. Promise exists. Moon creates Kambula from the 4th or 7th. Now the relationship becomes family visible. A private bond becomes social. Families meet. Engagement happens. A partner's emotions become clear. A counseling discussion becomes a decision. A legal contract becomes lived partnership. If Venus is strong, affection and harmony support it. If Jupiter is strong, family blessings, law, dharma, and guidance support it. If Saturn is involved, commitment may come with duty, delay, age difference, family burden, or responsibility. If Mars is involved, passion exists, but conflict must be handled carefully. If Mercury is involved, communication decides everything. Example 3, property. Lagnesha and 4th Lord are in Ithasala. Moon creates Kambula. This can show actual movement into a home, property settlement, repair, vehicle purchase, land documentation, family relocation, or emotional anchoring. Moon in the 4th makes it deeply domestic. Mars can bring land, construction, tools, repairs, or property dispute. Venus can bring vehicle, decoration, comfort, luxury, beauty. Saturn can bring old property, construction delay, compliance, repairs, structural responsibility. Mercury brings documents, registration, agents, negotiations. Jupiter brings bank approval, legal blessing, family guidance, or larger property. Example 4. Health. Lagnesha and 6th or 8th significator may be in a relevant yoga. If Kambula forms, the matter becomes embodied. This can show treatment actually beginning, medicine being taken, surgery scheduled, diagnosis accepted, caregivers entering, or emotional support aiding recovery. Moon participation is vital here because the body and mind must accept the process. Mars may show surgery or acute intervention. Saturn may show chronic disease, slow recovery, discipline, physiotherapy, bones, joints, aging, duty. Mercury may show tests, reports, diagnosis, nerves, skin, documents. Jupiter may show good doctor, correct guidance, protective treatment. Venus may show reproductive, hormonal, comfort, food, medicine, or recovery environment. Sun may show eyes, vitality, authority doctor, or heart of self-confidence. Example 5. Business or clients. Lagnesha and 7th or 10th Lord are in Ithasala. Moon creates Kambula. This can show the client not only talks but signs. The market responds. The public receives the offer. The service moves from pitch to delivery. Mercury gives commerce, communication, contracts. Venus gives branding, appeal, relationship, customer satisfaction. Jupiter gives trust, ethics, consulting, advisory, institutional expansion. Saturn gives long-term contract, compliance, large organization, slow but stable engagement. Rahu may show digital marketing, online presence, sudden visibility, foreign platforms, social media growth. Now the key distinction. Kambula is not fantasy. It requires a prior promise. It does not create something out of nothing. The Ithasala must exist. The matter must already be moving. The moon then carries it into experience. So when I read a Varshaphala chart, I do not simply ask, is there a good yoga? I ask, what is the matter? Which house is involved? Who is Lagnesha? Who is Karyesha? Are they applying? Does the moon pick it up? Is the moon strong or weak? Is the moon in a Kendra making the result visible? Is the moon in a Kona making the result meaningful, fertile, devotional, or blessed? Is Mars or Saturn damaging the promise? Are the planets strong enough to deliver? Is the promise public, private, emotional, legal, professional, domestic, or spiritual? That is how Tajika becomes precise. Now here is the deeper teaching. In life, many things are promised but not embodied. A person says, I will help you, but help never comes. A company says, we are interested, but no offer letter comes. A partner says, I care, but no commitment comes. A doctor gives advice, but treatment is never followed. A family discusses property, but nobody signs. A student dreams of learning, but never enrolls. A creator plans a launch, but never publishes. That is not Kambula. Kambula is when the field responds. Someone calls, someone signs, someone shows up, someone receives, someone supports, someone feels, someone commits, someone acts. The moon is the difference between concept and experience. So when Kambula appears in a yearly chart, it tells us, this year something can become real because the emotional field, the public field, the family field, or the body field participates. But we must still judge quality. A strong moon gives clean embodiment. A weak moon gives emotional instability. A moon afflicted by Saturn may show delay, fear, duty, grief, or emotional heaviness. A moon afflicted by Mars may show anger, urgency, surgery, conflict, emotional heat. A moon with Venus may show pleasure, love, beauty, comfort. A moon with Jupiter may show protection, blessing, family support, wisdom. A moon with Mercury may show messages, documents, counseling, conversation. A moon with Sun may show public attention, father, authority, visibility, or pride. Kambula is therefore not only result, it is the emotional climate through which the result comes. For yearly prediction, this is extremely valuable. If your Varshaphala shows Kambula connected to the 10th house, the year may not allow you to remain invisible professionally. If it connects to the 7th, relationships and contracts become lived realities. If it connects to the 4th, home, mother, property, vehicle, and emotional foundations become active. If it connects to the 5th, children, creativity, romance, education, mantra, and joy become embodied. If it connects to the 9th, the year may bring a teacher, blessing, travel, legal movement, publication, or spiritual direction. If it connects to the 11th, Networks, gains, income, audience, community, and social reach may become active. If it connects to the 12th, the embodiment may happen through retreat, foreign land, sleep, hospital, ashram, hidden work, expense, closure, or surrender. This is why Varshaphala is powerful. It does not replace the natal chart. It sharpens the year. The natal chart tells the deeper karmic architecture. The dasha tells the larger period. The transit shows moving weather. The Varshaphala shows the solar year's activated field. And Tajika Yoga show the mechanism of manifestation. Kambula says, the mechanism is lunar embodiment. The promise is picked up by life. So when you see Kambu not speak vaguely, speak with precision. Say this matter has a prior promise, and the moon is carrying it into lived experience. Say this is not only a discussion, it can become an event. This may involve family, public response, emotional acceptance, social participation, or the body's lived reality. The house will tell where it happens, the planet will tell who carries it, and the sign will tell the style. That is how you move from astrology as symbolism to astrology as diagnosis. And that is exactly why an annual Varshaphala reading can be so powerful. Because most people do not need vague predictions. They need to know which promise of the year is real, which promise is theoretical, which promise is blocked, which promise is delayed, and which promise is emotionally ready to manifest. Kambula is one of the clearest yogas for that. It shows where life says, now I feel it, now I receive it, now I live it. Now it becomes real. So if you want to understand your year not as random events, but as a precise map of timing, opportunity, pressure, emotional turning points, career movement, relationship decisions, home changes, health patterns, and spiritual openings, this is where a proper yearly forecast reading becomes valuable. Because in Tajika, we do not just ask what is promised. We ask the sharper question, will the promise actually enter your life?